What up, everybody? It is another crazy week, as always. But you know what? I have found through traumatic experiences, psychologically, having you break down what happened in those traumatic experiences severely lessens the amount of anxiety that those experiences are able to induce. So since the last 2 years of our life inside of the COVID state has been somewhat traumatic, and literally so. If you would put what happened to most human beings on a scale of if it was done by an individual instead of done to you by your government, it would certainly qualify as traumatic. You're locked in your home. You're afraid of literally the air outside. Most people, you were outside sanitizing with Lysol your grocery bags before bringing them in. Mm-hmm. You're wiping the bottom of your shoes with Clorox wipes. You're angry at your relatives to the point where you literally disown them if they don't cooperate with the machine, or your new relationship boyfriend that's super controlling, right? Like, if you play it out, there's actually so many things that are similar to what you would consider an abusive relationship. And if you just put the word government there instead, everybody's just like, yeah, well, they're doing it for your safety. It's like, well, no, I don't think so. So we're going to talk about it. So that's the point of my show, is I'm actually psychologically manipulating your feelings so that they feel better tomorrow. And when your husband or wife says, I love you, you can receive it because you're not so destroyed emotionally and your puzzle pieces still work together and function mechanically so that you're capable of, participating in society to some degree. Functionally. Imagine if I told you you're not allowed to see your friends for the next 2 years. You'd be like, why would you say that? Imagine if I was in control of you and said that. That's pretty much what happened. Oh, and by the way, the shit that they told you to do, I'm not saying it didn't work. I'm saying that there's a lot of evidence that suggests that it certainly didn't do what they were expecting it to do.
Or how about, imagine if, Ross, I get a headache, right? And I take 2 Tylenols, but I want you to take 2 Tylenols, even though you don't have a headache. And you're like, no, I don't have a headache. And in fact, I have a little bit of liver problems too. And I take away your job, or I prevent your children from seeing you. If it's a child custody thing, I take these things away from you because you don't take the Tylenol, even though I might have the headache.
Yeah, I get it, but it's not quite that. I like the analogy, but we're almost. Let's think of it a little further, because your headache can't stab other people and make them get a headache.
Well, yeah. And
everybody's fear of COVID is that it can. So you are literally a biological hazard threat to dumb people who didn't understand the way that aerosol spread works.
You're right. You're right.
So the headache wouldn't do that. But what would? Something else you could say that.
Well, just basically that notion, even just that notion, even if it wasn't a contagion or anything like that, just that notion that somebody would make me take something against my will, and take away my way of living, the ability for me to go to college or anything like that, just because I won't take that Tylenol. Even just that part. But
even just because you won't take it. Well, even if you were deciding not to take a vaccine, like, listen, even medicines, even over-the-counter medicines, have varying degrees of efficacy and function on people. If me and Tina both go take Coricidin or something like that for whatever, right? Immediately, I will have probably a 12 to 35% different reaction than she would. Mm-hmm. And some people, stuff's not effective for them at all, and is actually traumatic for them, right? It's like bad for their bodies, right? So, like for me, penicillin. I'm allergic to penicillin. Oh, right? Yeah, I think that's what they told me when I was a baby. So I found out, I guess, right? But like, anyway, so the same thing is true about vaccines. Like some people have the fact that they were attempting to take the heart transplant away from that kid because he wasn't vaccinated, right? Heart problems come in some cases from jabs, okay? Mm-hmm. And you're telling this kid he has to because of procedural, right? This is all procedural authority. None of this is something that, it's almost like there's three people sitting in an office and there's a procedural authority that says like the AC can only be touched once a day. So technically there's a rule from the manager from at some other location that says the AC units can only be touched for once a day. And all of a sudden, like, the electricity goes out and now you're not allowed to touch the thing again. So there's like no observation of your specific needs that meet your needs specifically. And you guys are just in there baking in 85-degree weather because you're technically not allowed to touch the AC machine, but it doesn't matter if you do or don't because you didn't break the rule that they made the rule because of. Or do you get what I'm saying? They probably did that because some Joe Blow in some other place maybe changed the AC 15 times a day. You were trying to change it twice because it got turned off for some reason. You would meet the criteria.
So nobody can. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
They would have some stupid rule that is not paying attention to the individual needs. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
And you would be like, I'm not going to tolerate this. This is clearly stupid. So you would rebel against that. That is precisely what has happened in almost every category of lockdowns and everything else, where you would go, clearly people are talking around the plexiglass that you dipshit set up. You know what I mean? And
or I go like this. I can't, because I can't hear them. I seriously can't hear
right,
them.
and how many other people also do that, and they spit in that same little spot of the plexiglass, and now it's closer and worse for you.
Their little kids are like licking the bottom, and you just put your hand there to type in your little credit card or something.
Right. Yeah, and so, I mean, you have all that. You have all of these stupid policies that were supposed to prevent certain things, and they're just not effective. Most of them. I'm not saying none are, okay? I'm not saying none are. I'm sure if everybody stayed in their own houses, I bet you that would be somewhat of a benefit. And we did that for like 12 to 15 days. We did that.
Beyond.
Right? But we got some places literally beyond that. In Canada, like it was like months in some places, but here's the deal. I'm not willing to do that. And neither is anybody else. And remember the phrasing, the whole entire purpose behind this is that the cure can't be worse than the disease. Well, we lost 20 points on IQ. We have thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people, 4 out of 10 people who are supposed to be seeing the doctor for normal, habitual, like I'm getting cancer treatments, I'm getting diabetic treatments, I'm getting kidney treatments. They stopped going to the doctors. This is all from the CDC. They're the ones that said this, that the danger of the fear of COVID is causing more problems, if you do the math, than COVID. And so it is like Yelp said 60% of the businesses that closed their doors during COVID were permanent. 60%. Permanent closures of small businesses. It was the largest wealth transfer in human history. In the history of humans being a thing, it was the largest transfer of wealth from the middle class to the upper class. And you don't think that the cure was worse than the disease? Significant. And they're still doing it.
No, I know.
They're
and
still
what about
doing
the famine? The worldwide famine. From countries like ours, with very plentiful and donates a lot of food worldwide. I mean, just the trickle down is absolutely awful.
Yeah, and it's getting worse. And you know what? Like, we're not the only people that said this. We're not like, it's not like 15 nut jobs on the internet were like, trust us, like it's gonna get bad, everybody. Nope. There's a fat amount of people who have been saying the same thing for a long time. Let me show you.
Yeah, let's say, what is this?
This is the Great Barrington Declaration. I wonder if they can see this. Okay, good, they can.
Okay.
So, all right, there.
I haven't heard of this. No,
this is 930,000 signatures from doctors and all them. I want to show you kind of what the thing says, because here it is. It's an infectious disease epidemiologist and public health scientist. We have grave concerns about the damaging physical and mental impacts of the prevailing COVID-19 policies and recommend an approach we call focused protection, which basically means be careful of the people that are actually vulnerable to something like this and leave everybody else alone. Right. But let's see.
I didn't know about this.
Yeah. Well, when they originally released it, Well, whoever wants to read this can go read it. But anyway,
Right.
it's a group of people that basically said this is such a bad idea and is going to cause significantly more harm than good. That's it. That's all they said, because that's all that needs to be said. And anybody with a brain can go, yeah, that makes sense. I guess we locked down our grannies in the freaking nursing homes and didn't let them see any family for 3 months. And all of them seem to age 10 years for some reason. And you think that's a good thing? You think that was safe? You think that was kind? Do you know how much emotional damage people had? They lived 70, 80 years of their life. And then now at the end of their life, what should be the crescendo of love and attention and affection and passing down whatever wisdom they have to give to people is lonely, nursing home, not allowed to see anybody. Oh, and by the way, when you're dying, only one of your kids is allowed to be there. Only one person. Can't hold. Oh, and then your funeral will have 4 people show up too. Any more than that, and we'll separate you. Remember that video?
Yeah.
Where they're literally at a funeral anyway. I'm a little fired up, guys.
No, I'm like going through it. I remember that was so sad. I'm remembering all the photos we saw of like people going to nursing homes and Granny has one hand on the glass and here, or remember the kids can see Santa again, and it was just them touching fingers through a plexiglass.
Oh,
just
so dumb.
The madness. Did you see the one where they put up a sheet of plastic? It was a grandparent.
Yeah, hugging through a sheet of plastic.
I'm like, oh my gosh.
It's like
psychological.
I get it. I get why you guys think that was effective, but what you don't understand, and I said this in one of our videos, is that grandma just left your house and didn't hug you, and then she went to Walmart. And where Jerome and Roger, the stalkers, Jerome and Roger, who just piddle paddle and just have fun all night, listening to their headphones, no gloves, no mask, because nobody's watching the stalkers do anything at 4 a.m., right? Nobody gives a rip. You got your music, you're doing your thing, and they're just breathing right on all your groceries. Right. And maybe you washed your groceries the first day, but you didn't do it the third day, right? And do you really think that when you got up to checkout, like everywhere else, right, the buttons that you pushed were not supposed to be sprayed because they're rubber and it would deteriorate them, right? So there was all these, even right now, if you go to the grocery store right now,
what are you talking about? Yeah.
If you go to the grocery store right now, it literally says on most of the kiosk where you put your card in or whatever, do not spray this with disinfectant. It'll damage the parts.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So everybody just
like
takes
ruining a bunch
do and puts it right on, and I can't even clean. And so what happens? Literally, do you think that any of these people, how many times, like how efficient? Like here's the thing, the people that decided all these stupid rules, it's like they had never studied human beings before. Okay? It's like they had never done it. It's like they need to hire the dude that ran Redbox, because they were so convinced that human beings were shitty and wouldn't do things that they should do that they literally gave movies away for free in the expectation that you would not return them in time so that they could make money that way. They're like, it's $1, just take it. And so everybody did, right? And then it's 3 or 4 days later and you're like, oh, it's $1.80 every day that I get to keep it. But they knew you, and they knew you'd be looking at your couch when you said it, and you would go, it's worth $1.80 for me to stay my ass at home. And now they're making the same money Blockbuster and Movie Gallery and all these other companies were making because they're saying it's cheaper, and you're too stubborn and stuck in your ways to turn it back in on the next day.
Because they knew psychology. They knew the psychology.
They were so aware of how crappy you were that whenever they put a Redbox machine in the sun, they literally put a flap on it that covers the sun from hitting it. And there's no way to move the flap permanently out of your way. Why? Why does it always come down if you let go? Because they know you're so shitty at following through on things that they had to make it automated, that as soon as you went away, it automatically fell back down. That's why. So they should have hired that guy to determine how much people were willing to actually cooperate with. Besides New York City and California, who are filled with people that have been beaten and brainwashed, the rest of the world is still going, I don't believe you guys about 60% of the stuff that you say. Take 2 of these and call me in the morning. Okay? So that's the longest intro ever. Welcome, everybody.
But the thing is I know you're saying that, we're all thinking it, but so many people still comply. They're still complying. Like, parents were like outraged about the masks and things like that and couldn't believe that they were going to have them yet another year. And then they still sent their kids to school and still did it anyway, and nothing really happened.
Yeah.
It was until
3 parents cared.
Right. Very few would come. Certain school districts, the parents stood up, which that's great. And it was good to see them in the news. But out of all the school districts in the United States, not a lot of people did much. They just complied.
Well, I think what's happened in the U.S. is people have gotten so comfortable with our way of life, like the way that we exchange. Like I sit on my couch, I do Amazon, I get the thing in the mail, I do grocery pickup, I do this. I don't have to touch anybody, I don't have to talk to anybody. The drive-thru's like this. Pizza guy leaves the pizza at the door. It's really impersonal now. Like it's just efficient. And then they're like, all right, you want to take 14 COVID tests a week? No? Okay, cool. Then get the jab. Right? People are just slave to convenience and don't care.
Right.
Speaking of the jabby jab.
Yes.
The President of the United States, who formally has said that you will not... What's the word?
Contract.
I was going to say conduct, but then I was like...
You're close. Close enough. You hear it?
To continue reopening safely and responsibly. We are not fully out of the woods yet, because what is happening in America right now is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. Let me say that again. It's a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
Hey, folks, guess you heard this morning I tested positive for COVID.
So, Biden, 4 times boosted Biden, contracted COVID. Now, I know now everybody's like, so what? It was never supposed to prevent. It was never supposed to prevent the disease. Well, let's see what the leaders of the CDC and our national response to COVID said about that. Oh, and the president.
If you get vaccinated, you are protected, even with the Delta variant. Chris, if you're vaccinated, you don't have a risk. And that's the reason why we say it's as simple as black and white. You're vaccinated, you're safe. You're unvaccinated, you're at risk. Simple.
You're okay. You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations. Yeah.
Our data from the CDC today suggests, that vaccinated people do not carry the virus, don't get sick, and that it's not just in the clinical trials, but it's also in real world data.
So, the people that are in charge of our response to COVID as a country, the people that are telling us what to do, were very wrong on very critical information at the beginning of this. So even if you are someone who says, well, now they were talking about Delta variant, so we were into it, quite a bit into it.
Well, and they said, no, it works so well, guys, even against this variant. That's what they were selling it as. Like, it works so well that even against this variant, so you have to get it. You need to get it because you're not going to get it, but you need to get the jab.
So
okay?
At which point are you allowed to, as a person who is allowed to have your own brain and eyeballs and thoughts, go, well, last time John told me there was gas in my car and there wasn't. So this could be annoying and might cost me something if I listen to him again. When are you allowed to be skeptical? Because you're not really allowed to be in the world today. You kind of can't be a skeptic. You can't talk about it.
Right. Like going back, I was thinking about it, just going back to the headache analogy that I've gotten 4 horrible migraines and then you've given me this orange pill all the times and I still got the headache, I still got the migraines. Not just that, I got like a horrible side effect or something, which is happening with many people. I'm gonna start saying, hey, this doesn't work, like
yeah, and I don't
work.
think you have to wait. And by doesn't work, they can mean whatever they want, everybody. Okay, they can mean whatever they want about what works and what doesn't work. What me and Tina are saying as far as what we mean by works, just so we're clear and I'm not violating any rules, I'm saying the reason...
Our definition of working.
Yeah, my definition, my truth
which is
of the word working is, hey, doc, before you put that in my arm, what's it supposed to do? Oh, this is going to help make sure, like if you're going to Africa on a trip and they said, I'm getting an injection to make sure I don't get whatever fever, I'm going to go, great. That's, in my mind, that's how this works, right? And if I got it, I'd be pissed. Now, we can get into the history of the other vaccines and we can have ourselves a long conversation. But what I wanted to say is how long until you're allowed to be skeptical? For all the people that aren't skeptical still, somehow, if you're watching this, congrats. You've done a great job so far. You haven't checked out yet, even though I'm making jokes. But if you're not allowed to be skeptical yet, when are you? At which stage, right? We had an entire hearing for Brett Kavanaugh, if you remember, right? Because one woman came forward, Christine Blasey Ford, right? With a story that was not corroborated by anybody, including her friends that she said were in the story, right? And he was able to explain a lot of that time frame away because he had kept a schedule somehow.
And everybody
forever.
knew him. And yes.
Which, I mean, look, that's...
amazing.
We saw his planner, so it wasn't a lie. He had the schedule there. So that's not me going like, that's sniffy and sketchy. I totally believe Kavanaugh. And I was just saying that was preposterous and wowerizing that I was like,
yeah, I was
you actually have a
that's
planner?
a great kid at that age. He was already that on top of things. I mean, I wish at that age I wouldn't have had things in order. He had his life in order, so you can tell he's gotten to where is now because of his hard work and tenacity. Because that's how he was when he was young,
right?
You know.
Well, so the reason I say that is because that is where the left and the people in charge had positioned us to position women at that forefront of, if they said it, even if there is absolutely no proof of anything that they said, we almost didn't let Kavanaugh get into the office because of that accusation, right? Mm-hmm. And the reason for that is because, believe all women, we should be super caring about what they have to say, except for one big area. And which area is that, Tina? Reuters. This is November 2021, right? About what? What is that? 8 months ago? 9 months ago? Right? Where vaccines were not linked to menstrual changes.
That's what they told us.
That's what they said.
No.
Right? And they got it from who? Some source.
Let's see.
The Victoria Mail from Imperial College London. That's who they got it from. Okay, yeah. Wonderful. What do we know now?
Mm-hmm. So...
Wait, hang on. Let me get a little bit of fame first. Pull up my video that I did.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's
let me get some fame first because I called. I was saying something completely different before.
Okay, ready?
Yo, I just made this video yesterday. It's got 51,000 views, and I asked girls if they're having any menstrual differences from being around people with COVID vaccines, because the Department of Health in Hawaii says you won't. Here's how many comments it got. 1,977. I know this is all anecdotal and doesn't count as proof, but I think y'all ought to read the comments. Pause and read. Pause and read. You got to read one of these. Okay.
Miscarried after being around vaccinated family members and haven't gotten a period since. I honestly didn't even realize it would be related to that. 9 weeks pregnant. I had heavy bleeding. Never had any bleeding with a pregnancy before. Wow.
I've had cramps for 5 days now. Oh, my God.
No period. Wow.
These are just random people. I didn't pay these people to come comment on my page, guys. And this is not even about being jabbed, okay? This is about being around people who are being jabbed. And they called this disinformation.
2 periods in 1 month and not period related, but my stepdaughter miscarried twice this year from being exposed. Wow. And this is anecdotal. Let's make that clear.
Yeah, 100% anecdotal. Could mean absolutely nothing.
Yep. These could just be all bots. These are probably bots, right?
Yeah, they're all bots on TikTok. What's that one say?
It's absolutely 100% infected mine. I didn't believe it until it happened to me. I've always been regular until people around me started getting the VX.
I've been getting it every other week and spotting almost every day. Yeah.
Wow. Worse cramps last longer. Family members got the shot and I had extremely heavy periods. Never had it been.
Keep reading this stuff. This is insane.
Now really light period. Wow. Well,
listen to this one. My daughter and friend both had 3 and 1 month.
Good Lord.
What?
But
okay,
no, according to that study.
Yeah, so they said, the Department of Health in Hawaii said that there's no correlation even between being around people. And they also said there's no link to that in the vaccines. You guys just saw, I didn't make this up. What are they saying now?
Well, now we have Senor Fauci.
Senor Fauci. Oh, man.
Let me find it.
Bonjour.
Okay.
A number of studies. New York Times just did one about menstruating cycles and how that is affected by vaccines.
Yeah, well, the menstrual thing is something that seems to be quite transient and temporary. That's the point. That's one of the points. We need to study it more. We need to study it more. We need to study it more.
A number of studies. New York Times. just did one
What you
about,
meant was they exist and you don't know much about it?
He's admitting by saying, "Oh, but it's temperamental," or whatever the heck he said. He's admitting that it's true. When they sat there, wagged their finger in front of all of us, like people like you and people saying, "Hey, something's up with this. The side effects might actually be there, and it might be menstrual." And the media said no. The media said, "Oh, you need to remove that from your language. We were crazy." Now, the Fauci himself. For all you Fauciites, you fans of Fauci, he's admitting that it is indeed real. Like something happened, right? I mean, there it is.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is when you finally get to that like stage where you're like, I was right. They change the definition about something. Right. It's almost like the next phase is they'll switch the definition of something so that now that what you said was accurate, right, that it's kind of like it doesn't really matter. It's like, it's going to prevent the thing. And then like, you were wrong. It's like, well, vaccines don't prevent the thing. How do I know? We just made it say that. Right. How do I know they made it say that? Look at the picture that I put on there. That has that 2005 search, the first one.
Okay, the first one is.
I pulled this today, guys, okay? Notice the time frame that I put the search inside of. January 1st, 2001 to 2005.
There, guys.
Okay?
See it? There.
Vaccines are prophylactic in the sense that they are administered to healthy individuals to what? Prevent a disease. Let's try to find the phrase prevent a disease in the new definition of vaccine.
Yeah.
Imagine going to Africa and like being like, I want that. Let me get that. What's the African one? West Nile? The West Nile virus. Let me get that West Nile thing. And then you get West Nile virus.
Well, that's what's happening.
Be like, this is some trash.
Some people are saying that they did catch COVID right after getting it, but they're saying that it's not related
Well, they're still vaccinated technically as far as I understand it.
Right.
If you have to wait 14 days after your shot before you're considered vaccinated.
Okay.
So you're still an unvaccinated swine if you got COVID. I don't mind being a swine, bro. You guys will come roll in the mud in a couple weeks. In fact, some of you know that you should be wearing your mask and you're not right now for some reason. It's like all of a sudden you don't care. It's like, what happened? Also, a ton of you guys are afraid about monkeypox, but let me just tell you, statistically, you're more likely to be struck by lightning right now than to die from that. So...
Did you see the strange thing that Susan Walensky said today? She was today or yesterday. The correlation with it is a correlation that they've said with homosexuals and monkeypox, right? Today she came out and talked about children getting monkeypox
from being around gay men.
And then she said correlating it to the homosexual community.
Right.
And children getting it.
Right.
See?
Right.
I was surprised she said something
Well,
like
I don't
that.
think that there was like sexual abuse or anything like that, but
that's what a lot of people are going to.
Yeah, well that's fine. You can speculate.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people went to.
We usually find out that the people that are hard on the left and are wearing the rainbow colors abused the kid a couple months after we find out their name, not next day. So I'm sure we won't find out immediately.
Well... a lot of people are like, why did she say that? Just, I guess, because of putting it together. So, anyway.
Scroll down on the thingy. I also want you to see the serotonin. Bring that thing up. Let's look at something else they were wrong about that was kind of important recently. What else were they wrong about?
So.
No evidence that depression is caused by low serotonin levels. Finds comprehensive review. Oh, you guys mean that thing that everybody's been taking to fix their chemical imbalance for 30 years, 20 years?
How many commercials have we seen the skyrocketing commercials for Cymbalta, Celexa, thank you.
That's the one they tried to put me on when I was stressed out about stuff. They were like, how about some Celexa? Glad I didn't take that shit.
And they show a person feeling really down, which, a lot of us can feel that way, especially in this society. And when we feel real down, it's like, feel better. And it shows the person getting better. Get back to the things you love.
I can't believe we actually have ads for pharmaceutical drugs in this country.
Right. No, it is strange.
So weird.
It is very
strange.
Strange.
I don't need to see this. I need to know what actually works. And if
Right.
you're trying to emotionally trigger me to care about, there's just too much money to be made in the freaking medical industry, man.
Right.
There's too much money to be made. Me and my wife talk about this all the time. I hope we don't get sick with something serious, because the amount of trust I have that these jokers won't just completely debacle you in the
Right.
pursuit of some kind of federal benefit they could get, or just completely overlooked. Look, medical malpractice in some circles is believed to be the top 3rd leading cause of death in the United States. So you can look that up yourself. But there's obviously, here's what happens. You get fact checkers that act like what's not true is true. So even if I say something that's actually true and you go look it up, a fact checker will disagree with me. You just got to read their fact check. Get all the way to the bottom of it.
Right.
They did this one forever ago about Virginia when that storm came through, that blizzard, and all those and all those cars were stranded. And then somebody posted on Facebook, if this would have been all electric cars, they would be stuck in the middle of the road out there because
Right.
nobody could have brought them gas, and it takes 24 hours to charge those sometimes, or whatever, right? They take hours and hours to charge a lot of times.
I didn't even put those two together, and I know they don't work well in the cold either.
Right. Well, and the amount that they'd have to be towed somewhere, because to bring
Right.
portable
Impossible.
battery to them takes hours for us to get it to you
Right.
for it to go through. Right. Well, so the thing was, no, this is mostly false. There was a fake Facebook article that came out, and they were saying this and saying this, and in their article, as you read it, all that it said was, actually, there's no way to tell which vehicle would last longer based on which vehicle had more gas or more battery power at the time that the blizzard began. And it was acting like it's like, what if
Semantics. They're playing
complete semantics. They were like, in an individual case-by-case basis, if the person who had gas had barely any fuel and you had a full battery, you'd probably last longer out there in the cold. And we were just like,
Duh.
do you think anybody was arguing this? You know what I mean? So that's what they do.
Semantics to make it a false general statement, which
Right.
it was not. No.
Right. So that's what the fact checkers do. So everybody knows, if you're ever like, Ross sometimes gets fact checked about stuff, that's usually what it is. And if I'm really wrong about something, I have no problem admitting it. None.
Did you see, I think a famous YouTuber, I think it was Mr. Beast. He did a road trip that was did you see it? That was
Keep going.
supposed to take maybe 11 hours or 9 hours or something. I can't remember. And it took them 27 hours with the EV, the electronic vehicle. I can't remember what they drove. But they did it solely electronic vehicle, and it took them 27 hours. Isn't that
Wow. I did
insane?
not see that.
Yes.
I saw the
just kinda
Ford
going down-
F-150, the Ford Lightning.
Right. The new one.
Yeah. It was dragging a thing behind it. Whatever its maximum payload is, a NASCAR or something.
Okay.
Right. And they wwere bringing it to the next meet, and they had to stop every 100 miles to charge the car.
Oh, my.
Because it can't do it because you just get so much worse mile per gallon, because it takes so much more energy to pull something. You know what I mean? And like a regular
imagine?
vehicle, so an electric vehicle, every 100 miles, that's an hour and a half. And
Yeah, I
you're
was about
stopped.
to say, how long does it? Because some, isn't it the difference too? There's difference with supercharged stations versus regular.
Yeah, there's
and you
all
have to
kinds of
pay.
differences, yeah.
You pay a little bit more for the super fast charging.
Probably. I don't know about
I
that, but I
think
bet
so.
you're right. I mean,
Comment below and tell us if that is true. I think it's true, but comment below.
Guys, speaking of commenting below, you guys got to start commenting a little bit more. Here we are thinking we're putting out this for the world, and we get a good like to view to like ratio. But if the algorithm doesn't pick up on it, nobody else gets to see this stuff. So please like this video, share this video, go to the podcast, like and subscribe to it, subscribe to the channel, click all the stupid buttons so that everybody thinks I'm important and lets more people see me. Because, it's just hard not to be important, guys. And I'm having trouble emotionally dealing with the fact that my life is passing me by. And I'm just kidding. But no, I didn't know about the F-150. I was curious about that when I had seen the announcement for it. I was curious how that was going to perform as a truck. So, and of course we're going to have hiccups in the road, guys, towards an electric world. If you really wanted to do that, I think that's stupid, But yes, Tesla existed. They were attempting to now they're by force having to improve everything. But here's the problem. What's going to happen is the world is being sold a bill of goods that if we transition the way that they want us to, that we're not going to be using fossil fuels. That is a lie, because 95% of the power, forgive me, 85 to 95% of the power that comes to the way that the United States and other countries use electricity is coming not from just coal is one of them, but from natural gas, which is still, guess what, a fossil fuel, right? So you're pretending that you're offloading the fossil fuel burning, meaning your gasoline, for a different one that's way significantly less whatever, but it's not really a clean wash. And so all that's happened is you have become significantly more inconvenienced, unless you make a certain amount of money, because then you can just do what you want to do, right? So you're significantly more inconvenienced, and nothing changed with the environment in a significant way.
It's worse. If not, it's worse.
Yeah, because nobody knows what to do with these batteries after we use them.
The batteries, and how much CO2 or whatever does a coal plant make that's fueling some battery station in Pennsylvania or whatever. The coal and the CO2 emission might be more from the plant than it would have been from just a little Ford Focus. Yes.
Right. Yeah. I don't know what the exchange rate of that is. I don't know if that's true or not.
Because we don't know yet.
Because we don't know yet. But here's the thing. None of them are doing this. None of the people that are telling you to do this are doing this. They're flying to freaking other countries in private jets and driving around in gas-guzzling limos.
They're not even doubling up in the jets.
Yeah. They're not even, what do they call that? What do they call it when we ride together?
Carpooling.
They're not even carpooling. These jokers aren't even green carpooling, okay? And anyway, I sat outside of Congress the other week when I was in D.C., and I watched all of them. And guess what? 90% of them drive. I'm sorry, 90% of them are driven in big old GMC Yukons, Suburbans, right? The Tahoes. I mean, 100%
gas.
Yeah, all gas. I saw one Prius in the parking lot there. So anyway, all this to say, guys, is virtues happening everywhere. You're allowed to be skeptical. It's wise for you to be skeptical. And get ready, because me and Tina got some cool stuff coming out for you guys soon about how to make money reselling online, flipping stuff. And we're also going to be doing a couple other things. Perhaps we're going to do a little seminar for people to learn how to make, $75 a day just flipping on their own. Things like that. Get ready for that. We're going to do a shout out about it. But not only that, check out the Ross Bennett Consulting. I do consults for people to do their websites, to do their logos, their brands, finding their niche, doing advertising, marketing, the whole 9 yards. I'd love to help you guys. And well, God bless everybody. Keep going.